Some people can talk about their childhood easily. Stories, memories, laughter. And then there are people who freeze when the question comes up, not because something terrible happened, not because nothing happened either, but because childhood feels incomplete, like entire years are missing. And here's the part that matters. If you grew up fast, this isn't just a memory issue. This still controls your life in ways you probably don't realize. For most people, childhood doesn't end in one dramatic moment. There's no clear before and after. It ends quietly, slowly. You stop being a kid without ever deciding to. You start paying attention instead of playing. You learn when to stay quiet. You learn that things feel safer when you're useful. Maybe it was making adult decisions too early. Maybe it was managing emotions that weren't yours. Maybe it was realizing that if you didn't step up, no one else would. Childhood doesn't shatter. It fades out. And when that happens, something changes inside you. Psychologists call it parentification, when a child takes on emotional or practical roles meant for adults. But that word doesn't really capture it. It doesn't explain what it feels like to be small and responsible for something far bigger than you. What people later call maturity is often something else entirely. It's survival. It's a nervous system learning that being alert, capable, and needed is the safest way to exist. At the time, it feels normal. You don't question it. You adapt. But here's what no one tells you. Those adaptations don't turn off when the danger is gone. You might notice you're exceptionally good at certain things, reading people, sensing tension instantly, solving problems under pressure, being calm when everyone else is falling apart. People rely on you, trust you, call you strong. But these aren't just traits, they're defenses. And defenses always come with a cost. Here's the strange part. People who grow up too fast usually handle big life crises surprisingly well. It's the small things that feel impossible. Asking for help, resting without guilt, letting yourself be unproductive, being silly, being taken care of. Those things don't feel relaxing. They feel dangerous. Because early on, you learned a rule that never got updated. If I stop holding everything together, something bad happens. You didn't just learn that rule, you built your entire operating system around it. And that system is still running. This shows up clearly in relationships. Often you're drawn to people who need something from you, not because you want to save anyone, but because being needed feels like love. It's familiar, predictable, safe. Notice who feels exciting to you. Now notice who feels boring. Emotionally available people can feel strangely uncomfortable, too calm, too steady, almost suspicious. Because chaos feels like home, and consistency feels like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Control becomes another theme, not always in obvious ways, more like overthinking, planning everything, running scenarios in your head before making simple decisions. People might call you anxious or perfectionistic, but what they're really seeing is a child who learned that unpredictability once meant danger. And then there's the exhaustion. Not the kind sleep fixes, the deep, bone-level tiredness. And here's the reframe most people miss. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because your body never learned safety. Rest didn't feel safe back then. Letting your guard down had consequences, so your nervous system stayed on. And it never really learned how to shut off. Success becomes complicated too. You achieve things, real things. But it never feels like enough. There's always another goal, another push, another prove it. Because somewhere early on, your worth got tangled with your usefulness. And the cruel part, the world rewards this. Society loves people who grow up too fast. They're productive, independent, reliable, low maintenance. They get things done. But no one asks what it cost you to become this way. You become fluent in emotional labor. Managing moods, preventing conflict, making everyone comfortable while quietly carrying everything alone. And after a while, it becomes automatic. You don't even realize you're doing it until you're surrounded by people and still feel completely alone. So how do you heal from something that doesn't feel like it counts as trauma because it wasn't one big moment? It was hundreds of small ones, being too much and not enough at the same time. The first step is grief, real grief, grieving the childhood you didn't get to have, the version of you who should have been allowed to be messy, needy, irresponsible, and still loved. Naming that loss doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you honest. The next step is uncomfortable, learning that being needed is not the same as being valued. Your worth was never meant to be measured by how much you carry. Here's a small experiment, and this matters more than affirmations. The next time you're exhausted, don't explain it. The next time someone offers help, don't earn it first. The next time you want to fix everything, pause. You're not a human doing. You're a human being. And being is enough. You're allowed to be a beginner at being taken care of, because no matter how old you are, there's a part of you that never learned what it feels like to let someone else hold the weight. That child who grew up too fast did an incredible job. They were strong, resourceful, and brave in ways they never should have had to be. But they don't have to run the show anymore. And if you don't learn to loosen your grip, this pattern keeps choosing your life for you. So ask yourself this, not softly, but honestly. What would change if you finally stopped holding everything together? That question might be the beginning of everything changing.